Alright, gang, I am rendering out a 4K video right now in compressor, and there's some effects and stuff on it, but really not too much going on, and you can hear the fan speed. So I haven't adjusted any fan curves. I'm on system settings, so this is how Apple is handling the thermal control, not me tinkering with anything. This is just how the system would handle it. And you can see the fan speeds right now are at 5,300 RPM, so it's slightly more than halfway the maximum speed here. And the temperatures are around 83 right now, but it goes up to 90 from time to time, and it gets really hot. It's actually hot to hold underneath. Not sure if you can hear that. And again, this is the M1 MacBook Pro that everybody says is so hard to run the fans, but you can see I'm almost fully utilizing the graphics here, and the 4 performance cores are definitely being utilized there, whereas the other 4 efficiency cores are only like halfway utilized. But I'm taxing the system pretty hard right now, and surprisingly still got quite a bit of leftover memory, but the fan is definitely kicking in. Can you hear that? So not so quiet anymore when you put this computer through an extensive task. And I feel like a lot of the tests on YouTube are based on short render tests or benchmarks that are just a few minutes long, but this has been going for more than half an hour now, I think, so it's really taxing the system. And at first the fan refused to kick in. It stayed at the very minimum, and even when it turned on, it was still like 1,200 RPM, so it was really silent. You could barely hear it. You really have to put your ear right against the vent in the back over here to hear it. But after half an hour or so, you can see it is ramped up. And again, this is on system control. I haven't gone into tinker with it or anything, so this is just how it's handling itself. It gets hot. It gets pretty darn hot underneath. So to everybody who says it doesn't get hot and the fans don't kick in, they're simply not utilizing it in a manner that is consistent with, I think, what I would consider a regular professional workflow, where you render a lot of things that are long. I feel like a lot of the reviews are just short test use cases, and they don't actually use it for their day-to-day. So yeah, I don't know, it's hard to say why people keep acting like these are invincible machines. They're great, but they're not, and there's a clear difference between this and the MacBook Air. If you get the Air, you're not going to have the fan, so you're not going to be able to run it as long, doing as intensive of tasks. So that's the difference. That's the big difference there. Not only is the MacBook Air's M1 chip tweaked to allow for less power consumption, so it actually has a cap. I think it's probably a lower base clock rate so that it doesn't get as hot, and therefore it doesn't require a fan. Whereas with the MacBook Pro version of the M1 chip, Apple has unlocked the full potential of the M1 chip, allowing it to get as hot as it can get because they rely on the fan on the inside to cool it down, which is exactly what you're hearing right now. But you can see it's almost maxing out the fan here. And yeah, I wish they put 2 fans in this, because the one fan on this one side, if they had another one, then maybe it would be even more thermal performance here. But yeah, so the short answer for those people who are trying to figure out, do you want the MacBook Air, the MacBook Pro, or the Mac Mini, is very simple. If you're going to be editing and rendering out long video projects specifically, then you are going to want one of the M1 Macs with a fan in it, because the MacBook Air would have throttled after the first 10-15 minutes and would have just slowed to a crawl. At least I'm still getting good responsiveness from this right now, so it hasn't actually throttled yet, which is encouraging. But again, you're going to be throttling on a MacBook Air. So that's pretty much it. If you're not going to be doing anything crazy like this, and your professional workflow is just writing or maybe editing pictures, photos, and light video editing, then you'll be fine with the Air. But if you're doing any extensive stuff or upscaling to 4K or anything else like that, then you definitely want something with a fan in it. And I'm not sure if this fan will actually do it in the long run, because that's pretty high up. Alright, thanks for watching.